Welcome to the Mad Ron podcast. Where did it all go wrong? With me, Mad Ron. I'm currently locked up. I only get one phone call a week, and I've decided to use it to recruit for my gang. Why? Well, I need people working for me on the outside while I'm banged up. Obviously, such a blatant approach would be frowned upon by the authorities, so I've disguised all of this up as a podcast. One of the many advantages of being inside is it's time to think about things, and I've been asking myself a few questions. Questions like, is the weather really worse now than when I was a kid? In 1967, I remember it being so cold that the deer would come out of the woods and eat from your hands. And in 1976, it was so hot all the rivers dried up and water didn't exist. We had to drink steam. It was properly bad weather then. One minute it was about cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey, the next it would rain cats and dogs. And what's bad weather now? I tell you what it is, it's 10 minutes of wind with a girl's name. But for me, the big question is, where are we going to get our next generation of criminals from? I think we need to turn to our comedy community. Comedians are used to working alone at night and quite often enter a room through a curtain. So I've got a few candidates lined up, see if they've got any potential, and who knows, if it goes well, they could be sharing a cell with me. Today's guest is Marcel Lucont, a multiple award-winning flaneur, raconteur and bon viveur. He's currently touring the world, charming women and insulting the stupid with his world-class poetry and bawdy songs, appearing on many English-speaking TV channels, but not many French ones. He's currently focusing on re-educating the British youth with his children's show, Marcel Lucont, Les Enfants Terribles, a game show for awful children. So why do you think that British kids need re-educating so badly?
Well, it's not so much a re-education. What I aim to do in the show, it's more re-education for the parents. Over the course of 1 hour, I break down any etiquette, dignity, morality that the children have tried to pin around the child. I just dissolve that to reveal the true awful nature of the child beneath.
Is a British child more awful than a French child, or are all the children exactly the same?
I would argue that every child is born innately evil until we mold it into a form of what we in society call good. And the children, they grow up differently. The child, they are naturally awful, and they learn how to be better. French arguably more than the British. Better is defined in different ways in our different societies. In France, better would be defined as reading more books, gaining more art knowledge, studying many forms of philosophy. The British child learns who can shout loudest.
So what would be a typical lesson for a child in a French school then?
Well, what subject are we talking
I
about?
mean, like, a
Are we
typical
talking?
day would be for us would be we'd rock up, we'd do a bit of assembly, we'd probably grow a bit of cress on some blotting paper, then have a bit of a break for playing the playground, and then maybe do a little bit of reading and spelling, and a bit of lunch, and then rinse and repeat. Really, what would a French school kid be doing?
What do you do with the cress?
Mainly, it's thrown away, thrown in the bin. It's green, and anything green shouldn't be eaten.
Okay, yeah, we tend to grow. We will grow chives, thyme, a little bit of parsley, and we will use it in the what you call home economics. It's
Right,
wonderful
cooking.
that you call it that as well. Home economics, like you have to be economical with food. No, food should be enjoyed with full flavors. No wonder that the British call it that. Home economics, yeah, just little bits of flavor, tiny little economic bits of. No. Full herbs for us. We grow them ourselves and we learn how to cook, aged around 3.
Well, the thing about it's called economics is that you don't want to blow your entire beer budget on onions. You've got to make sure that you partition your money so you've got enough money for spending in the pub and for a little bit of food as well.
Do you know how cheap is an onion?
Depends how many you use, really, isn't it? I do know how cheap an onion is because basically, if you are stealing iPads from a supermarket using the self-service checkouts, you need to know how many onions make up an iPad.
Sure. I would say the onion, the garlic, the herbs, the most economic food. You get big bang for your buck, as I'm sure you would like to say.
And it's 14 that make up an iPad, by the way. If you,
Good to
they
know.
should weigh enough, but you've got to get the size right. To be honest, if you've got the size right, then you can get away with it.
I will pass this on to the children.
Good. So let's get into your background, understand a bit about the years that made you the person you are today. So, what's the first time you remember doing something that was naughty?
Well, again, let's define naughty. Huh? I suppose I was, I was a naughty child. I recall I was around about age 6, I think. I was suspended from school for shaking hands. Hans was the German exchange student, not the done thing, apparently.
You don't not only speak English, you also speak German, do you?
No, there was very few words were used, mostly physical. No, of course I can speak German. I could speak fluently at that age, but I chose not to. It felt rough in the mouth. It felt like I don't know, like I was chewing on gravel.
So what did Hans do wrong then for
drinking.
you to give him a big shake up like that, or is it just basically picking on a German?
He was very keen to prove that he was right, and alas, physicality was resorted to when words did not suffice.
And
I was a different man back then. I was a different man. I was 6.
And what about Hans then? Is he, did he learn his lesson? Did you?
He became a far-right politician who was, I think I read a report about 7-8 years ago, died in a bizarre sex accident involving, it was some kind of sauerkraut party. And he choked on, there was too much sauerkraut underneath the gimp mask, and that was the end of him. Sauerkraut suffocation. Yeah, it's still a big thing. They now have to teach it in all schools. Warn against it. So
Right.
I suppose I could have done him a favor by him remaining in a French school, but no. Back to Germany he went, and his fate was sealed.
So did you get into trouble for shaking hands?
Yeah, I was suspended from the school. I joined a new school. I think only it's the new school, age 6. No German students. I kept the studying foremost in my mind, and then the next school, I must have been 15, 16. I was suspended from that school for what's the word? Fucking the Latin teacher. Right. Which again, languages. I enjoyed languages, but not a sexy language. Not a sexy language at all. So I am surprised, both of us. I'm surprised the situation even arose. Je voudrais serrer ton gluteus maximus. That's not a sexy language. That's why I was asked to leave. Before that, I was already in trouble the week before for bringing a swan to assembly. We were doing Greek myths, to me, I thought I was helping. doing nothing wrong, just
And
reinforcing a point.
and the reason for bringing this one to the assembly, is it a show and tell thing?
Yeah. It was the Greek myths is what we were doing, and I essentially brought the king of the gods in one form. I could not get the actual king of the gods, so just a standard swan. And apparently that did not illustrate the point. It shat all over the headmaster, which I don't think Zeus would ever have done. No, only metaphorically.
I mean, shitting on the headmaster is probably more of a German thing than it is a French thing, I'd imagine. You got into trouble, did you?
All the time. Yeah. But I was also studying. I was not one of these idiots which frittered away the time. I was reading the books and also fucking the Latin teacher. So rarely at the same time, but every now and again.
They do take sex education a bit further in French schools than they do in the English schools, don't they? So,
Well, again, we are learning a little bit about the old Roman culture, orgies, drinking the wine, vomitoriums, all that kind of thing. I thought, well, if we are going to get into this language, might as well live the life.
what's the worst thing you've ever done then, Marcel?
In life,
Yeah,
uh, battered pizza in Glasgow.
battered pizza.
A bet is a bet, but fuck, I was a younger man then.
And you ate
Sometimes
this.
you have to plumb the depths just to really realize what good a life you have.
Well, you need to experience the bad in order to appreciate the good, don't you?
Yeah, my point exactly. And
Um,
that was a low. That was a low.
and what was the battered pizza? What kind of pizza
Let's
was
move
it?
on. Let's move on.
Is it you know, was it the batter you objected to, the grease that
Let's.
came out the thing?
No, I'm sorry I brought it up. Certainly brought it up at the time. And
Mm.
we can all imagine. Pizza. Batter. You put the two together in Glasgow. Oh, let's move on.
So have you ever blamed somebody else for something that you've done?
No, I will. I don't know. I would no. I will take the rap for some. If I've done something wrong, it's part of being alive. It's part of who you are. I don't think I. No, I have the dignity to own up to any crime that I have done. I one time, I think about 18, 19, I slept with two Swedish twins. And the same afternoon, actually, both times mistakenly called them by the name of their mother, and try blaming that on someone else. You cannot. You take the rap yourself. That's it.
So you say two Swedish twins, is that four?
No. No. It's good to make the point. Sadly, no. Two girls, both identical
Right.
in many
Um,
ways. Actually, it's my favorite kind of woman, twin.
and so who did you blame for that? Did you blame somebody for that?
No. As I say, it's very difficult to. You cannot. How can you? Or somebody has crept in through the window. No, it's you. That's what you have done. You own up to it. I I did not know sorry in Swedish at the time, but soon afterwards I learned a lot of Swedish swearing,
Hmm.
curse words.
Right, now we've got to have a short break to hear from some of our sponsors, so we'll be back right after these messages. They meet under the dim glow of a Victorian street light. He sniffs, she pants. He coughs, she drops her stick. Fox shit, perfume for dogs, from kennel number 5. So I've always fantasized about nicking Jim Carrey's face cream. So with all those faces he pulls, I reckon without it, in a couple of weeks, he'd look like an 87-year-old Gordon Ramsay. So which celebrity would you most like to steal something from, and what would you take?
The Pope. Going to go with the
For the
Pope.
Pope?
Yeah, current Pope, any Pope. Ex-Pope, any Pope. Let's go with the current Pope because that's he's in residence. I would steal. Well, I assume he has an original Bible. That's got to be worth a lot, and several cases of Jesus wine, just out of interest, just to see, if we are what kind of vintage we are talking. What kind of wine the Pope is hoarding away? What kind of Jesus wine he's keeping in those cellars? Many secrets kept in those cellars, of course, but it's the wine I'm interested mostly in, just out of curiosity.
You wouldn't eat his bread then? The Pope's bread?
I'm not particularly interested in the bread. No. I'm not. No, I'm more interested in stealing the blood of Christ rather than the body. It's easier, if nothing else, easier to get rid of the evidence more quickly.
So you like the blood of Christ, but not the baguette of Christ?
Well, I don't know. I recall. I think when we used to go, my father took me one time to mass. I must have been 5, 6 years old. And I recall tasting the Jesus wine there, but I don't know. Well, it did nothing for me then, but I had not developed a proper taste for it. Certainly not by 6. It must have been 5 because, I had no real palate for wine then. So, it must have been 5. And not for me, but I would like to know if in later years the Jesus wine has grown on me, in a way that Jesus really as a man has not.
What would happen if you
Um,
got that bottle of wine from the Pope and you opened it and it was just water and Jesus hadn't got to it at that point?
yeah, I mean that's when we would know, I suppose, if the Pope has many bottles of corked water. Then we know he
Mm,
has access to Jesus. He's not faking it, He's actually the right hand of God. That's how we would know.
I suppose that is how you would know, isn't it? Really? Um, yeah. Do you ever get cloudy wine? Does wine ever go cloudy?
Yeah, on the way out.
Ah, okay. So, I mean, the point to this question is the fact that if you could create a new law, what would it be? I mean, like mine would be that craft beer places shouldn't be able to serve cloudy beer and claim it's supposed to be like that. So, in my local, we send the beer back if it's cloudy, and it's a definite no way of knowing if the beer's okay to drink or if it's going to give you the shits. So, in a craft beer shop, there's no way of knowing, and I reckon it's dangerous. So, that's the law that I'd put in. So, what new law would you do, and what would it be?
I think you must no longer be allowed to walk while eating. You see this all of the fast food,
Right.
the person nom, 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 burger stuffed in their mouth. They are walking, and also the person walking up the escalator, the up escalator. Oh yeah, let's go up the moving stairs. No, you don't need to do that. Relax. Why are you in such a rush? Well, oh, shit, I'll be 20 seconds quicker walking up this fucking thing. No, why are you doing this? Life. Take your time to enjoy life, however shit it might be. Take as much pleasure as it from it as you can. Don't be why all this eating while you are walking? Sit down, enjoy the meal. In France, different raison d'être. England, you see it. Oh, work, 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 die. Oh, if we can fit in a little bit of food or fun, we will. France, eat, drink, fuck. If we can fit in a little bit of work, we will try. Very different reason that we have our priorities quite different.
So, when you had this deep fried pizza in Glasgow, did you
Oh,
eat that
fuck.
sitting down with a knife and fork?
No, okay. If we are going to go back to that, uh, okay. I drank a lot of absinthe that night. There was a little after show party. Dares were being done, French. There were some French colleagues of mine and the Glaswegians who were hosting the show. The Glaswegians. Eat the battered pizza. Eat the battered Mars bar. Eat this, and in turn we eat the apple. Eat the orange, eat the fruit to the Glaswegians. And both of us, well, we said we would never talk of it again.
So, if you were to do a crime, what would you leave at the scene of the crime as your calling card?
Depends on the crime. As a calling card? What do I wish to be caught? Is one of those cat and mouse. I wish, or is a signature move. Like if I am to do the crime, if I am doing repeat crimes,
like a signature
they can
thing,
pin it on me.
to put the police off the.
Oh, to put them off.
Yeah, to put the police off the scent a little bit, you put something, like
piece of mild cheddar.
I don't know. Put 3 strands of spaghetti on the table, and then everyone's looking
I
for
like to
somebody
think
that's
that
Italian,
would
for example.
put them off the scent. Well, literally, it has no scent. It's not technically a food. I like to think, leave a piece of mild cheddar. They was never will they say, well, Marcel Lucont did that. Throws them right off.
Did you say cheddar?
Mild cheddar. Well, any cheddar, to be honest, but mild specifically.
Right. And you think that'll put people off the scent then, will it? They wouldn't be looking for you if there's a bit of cheddar left.
Yeah, I would have to... I would be wearing gloves anyway, if I were a proper criminal, but I would only really... That's the only time I would ever touch that with the gloves, and certainly would not allow it near my mouth. I like to think, you know what? If that does not put them off the scent, truly, if person, police, otherwise, if they believe I am the kind of person associated with mild cheddar, then I'm happy to be in jail for life.
Yeah, wouldn't you get embarrassed if you were caught though, and your calling card was cheddar?
Oh, if I was caught having cheddar about my person, yeah, sure. But, I like a challenge. I would that would spur me on to do the perfect crime.
So what's the most creative excuse that you've ever come up with?
Creative excuse. I was late for my own father's funeral, and I had to think of a different excuse for not being with his third wife. And what was the excuse? I think it was I was lost. I went to the wrong funeral. I think that's what we went with. His fourth wife was furious.
Did you get there in the end? Did you go to the funeral in the end?
Yeah, but it was I think for the final word, which surprisingly from the priest was fuck. Well, baiser en français. Baiser. And I don't know the context, but I like to think it's what he would have wanted.
what's your next crime going to be, and where's it going to be take place? Where can we see you?
My next crime. My only crime is to steal the hearts and the laughter of your nation. And where can you see me? You can find me in many different places. I am touring not only the show for children, but I am doing many shows for adults. My show touring currently is Marcel Lucont's Wine List, which is it's a way of discovering the moans, the gripes, the whines, the past misdemeanors of the people of your nation. There's no solution from me for any of these. It's like a kind of group therapy, but one where everybody probably leaves a little more depressed.
So where can we find out details of that?
Well, perhaps you don't know, you are banged up, but the internet is out there. I'm not going to tell you. If you can't find the details, listeners out there, you don't deserve to be there.
I've been banged up now for a little while, and I don't get many chances to hear what's going on the outside world. But what I have heard is that Nigel Farage likes to sit on the hillside overlooking the English Channel and shout at illegal immigrants in boats that are trying to get to England. So why are they so desperate to get out of France? Have I got that right?
Yeah.
What's your take on the situation?
I would, if you told me that, I would believe that. Because as well, Farage, I think he's a wonderful. I think he's a character, a comedian that has taken it too far. The real pronunciation, a little more wine. The real pronunciation of his name is Nigel Farage, and he's gone with Farage to be more French. And you know, it's wonderful to see. He's just he does not mean anything he says. He's simply playing a little character, and it's gone too far. And the Farage thing is the clue. You see, he's not a Farage; he's a Farage. It's wonderful to see that he's taking it so far, and they still fall for it.
So, what's one piece of advice that you give me to help me keep me on the straight and narrow once I get out of it? Hobbies, life advice, take up a sport, whatever.
Life advice. I suppose I can. Well, we are talking of my late father. He gave me some two wonderful pieces of advice. He said, Marcel, women, you cannot live with them unless they have specifically asked you to. So one piece is right in many ways. Second piece said, Marcel, life is one big orgy, but might as well make the most of it. So, you know, take out of that what you will.
Okay. Well, I mean, the best suggestion so far has been keeping fish, but I'll consider that one as well. Thanks very much, Marcel Lucont. This has been a very interesting chat. I'll get back to you if you've made it into my gang, if you want to join up. I'll send you a sign to let you know if you've been successful. So what I want you to do is keep an eye out for an edible British dinner. And then I need to get back in contact with you. And who knows, I might visit France when I get out.
The pleasure was all yours.
Thank you. Do you think one of your friends might be French? Maybe they said Paris instead of Paris. Maybe they look longingly at a Citron Picasso. Maybe they order that grape drink instead of beer. You can find out for sure with Glaswegian battered deep fried pizza. For us, it's the perfect accompaniment for a 5 a.m. stumble home, a great way of gaining a few extra pounds, and a natural skin re-greaser. But for the French, it's poison. Glaswegian battered deep fried pizza, coming to a chip pan near you soon.